Hello and welcome to Battlefront News. I have a lot of news for you today, guys. Firstly, the release platforms have been confirmed by an article on Eurogamer that was retweeted by Johan Andersson, the technical director of the Frostbite engine. Today we also learn about the developers of DICE Los Angeles, formerly Danger Close Games, the developers of Medal of Honor Warfighter. Thirdly, today we're going to be looking at the way a next-generation title such as Titanfall uses cloud computing to manage bots, and will this be similar in Star Wars Battlefront? Our fourth piece of news today comes from the Battlefield website. Features such as Levolution in Battlefield 4 will they be mimicked in Battlefront as they're being made by the same developers? Our fifth piece of news today is about the availability of the Xbox One's cloud service in countries. And our last piece of news is about the price of PlayStation 4 games on launch. Albeit first party, I believe it will be a price that holds solid for all titles. Alright, let's get straight into it, guys. The release platforms for Star Wars Battlefront have been confirmed. An article on Eurogamer was retweeted by Johan Andersson, the technical director of the Frostbite engine. The article stated, "Little is known about the game, save it's in the early stages of development." So there we go, guys, it is in the early stages of development, so don't expect it just yet. It's being built using the Frostbite 3 game engine, nothing new there. But here's the major news, and it will be released on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So all next generation release, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, PC. If it wasn't PC, they'd have a lot of angry fans. Unfortunately, there was no mention of current gen consoles there, so it's a shame it's not coming, but I suppose in the long run it's a good thing that they're not going to be restricted by old hardware. Our second piece of news today comes from the same article about the fate of Danger Close Games, the same studio that made Medal of Honor Warfighter. Solon confirmed that Danger Close Studios is no more. He stated, and I quote, "Danger Close as it is does not exist anymore. There are people who left LA, people who work with DICE LA, and there are some people who work in other parts of EA, as always when something gets dismantled. This means that the developers are still present in the system, however they're not together in the same team as they were when they created Medal of Honor Warfighter." I'm sure a lot of people have had doubtful thoughts of the Medal of Honor studio being on a supporting role for Star Wars Battlefront. I wouldn't worry, the developers have been split up. I wouldn't worry to begin with because they were taking a supporting role, and it doesn't matter anyway because the developers are no longer part of the same team. Our third piece of news today comes from an article on VG247 about Titanfall's cloud computing process. The article's title states, "Titanfall, Xbox One's cloud computing helped Respawn think differently," says Zampella. Vince Zampella is the studio founder of Respawn Entertainment, the development studio that is working on Titanfall. Speaking with IGN, Zampella confirmed that when Respawn signed with EA, neither EA nor Respawn had Microsoft exclusivity for Titanfall in mind, but Windows 8 based cloud computing proved attractive to the studio. He quoted, "It allows us to think of the game a little differently," he said, and added that the game offloads enemy and friendly AI to the cloud, along with dedicated servers. This end result is more natural NPC enemies and smoother online play that seamlessly blends single and multiplayer into a world that feels both organic and populated. This is incredible, brilliant news, guys. That means that as Titanfall is going to be using bots in single player and multiplayer, maybe there is a little bit of confirmation there that given that the cloud can handle it, as we know that Star Wars Battlefront has hired a cloud engineer, maybe they're going to offload bots to the cloud, that way you can have more fluidic, more responsive bots in multiplayer, therefore making bots a feasible way of expanding the game player list. Our fourth piece of news today comes from the Battlefield.com website, which states some features of the new game Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4 is being developed by DICE Stockholm, the same game developers which are working as current on Star Wars Battlefront. One of the new features they are really pushing with the Frostbite 3 engine is Levolution. Levolution, change the face of battle. Experience a dynamic battlefield where no two games will ever be the same. Your actions physically change the battlefield in real time, providing interactive game environments that react to your every move. For those who haven't seen the Battlefield 4 gameplay demo, there is a link in the description which will take you to a video showing the collapse of a skyscraper. That is a current feature in the multiplayer of Battlefield 4. It's running on the Frostbite 3 engine. As it's being made by the same developers, I would love them to just ship that feature with Star Wars Battlefront. Imagine being in a crowded sector of Coruscant filled with skyscrapers, being shelled from orbit and skyscrapers are coming down all around you, and you have to evacuate bots and people, perhaps civilians. Evacuating civilians is the key, and you have to evacuate them as part of the new game mode away to a separate building. There's a lot that can be done with Levolution, guys. It's not just about blowing up a building, it's the effect that it has on the rest of the game. And that's why I'd really like to see it in the new Battlefront game. Our fifth piece of news today is about Xbox One's cloud service availability in territories and countries. An article on VG247 stated, "Xbox One cloud services to be ubiquitous and available in all markets." Microsoft employee Jeff Henshaw stated, "Microsoft has data centers around the world, so cloud compute services are not something that you should think about on a country-by-country basis." He also went on to say, "We have deployed our data centers geographically so they can service the load for categories of countries all around the world, so we have some of the best reach of any other company on the planet to be able to make sure that the cloud services that we offer are what we consider to be ubiquitous and will be available to all markets." This is great news, guys. It means that the cloud service is going to be available in all countries, so everyone can take advantage of the extra computing power that the cloud will offer, meaning that perhaps you can have larger game modes, more bots in multiplayer. It can get very epic very quickly. Our last two pieces of news are both about PlayStation 4. Firstly, both being articles on VG247, states that PS4 first-party games to RRP at $59.99. This is great news, guys. That also means that they will be selling at the same price as Xbox One games, most likely meaning that all new releases on the next generation of consoles will be around $60. That is great news for Battlefront, as people are willing to pay $60 for the game, as that is the current industry standard. The second piece of news is about the PlayStation boss pushing for more immediacy for downloaded games. Speaking to Kotaku, Vice President of Hardware Marketing, John Collar, said Sony is very bullish on digital. One of the things we noticed through the progression of building the PlayStation 4, and now that we've announced it, is that immediacy is a big problem in the industry. Digital is really harmed by that. He said, the difference between an 8-hour download and a 15-minute drive to retail is winning that every time. Physical gaming will proliferate as long as that continues. Apparently they're working on a solution called Play Go, which allows you to start playing a game well before it's finished downloading. Collar said that he expects digital game sales to grow a lot more rapidly thanks to this innovation. This is great news, guys. It might mean that you can actually pre-order the game through the digital download service and then have it download as it's released and play it on Play Go, as you're only downloading the files that you need at that time. That way more people will have access to Star Wars Battlefront than ever before. You can download it off of the online store instead of going to retail. This is great news. I'm afraid that's all of the news. To do a quick recap, our first piece of news was that the release platforms have been confirmed as PC, Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Our second piece of news was that the Danger Close Game Studio has been dissolved, and it's part of DICE Los Angeles, but it's also part of other sections of EA, meaning that the same devs are not in the same team. Our third piece of news was about Titanfall, and if their cloud service for friendly and enemy AI would be similar to Star Wars Battlefront, as they offload their bots to the cloud to save computing power. Our fourth piece of news was about Battlefront possibly mimicking Battlefield 4 features such as Levolution. Our fifth piece of news was about the availability of the cloud, and Microsoft stating the cloud will be available in all countries. Our last two pieces of news was that first-party PlayStation 4 games will sell at $59.99, the same as Xbox. And finally, that the digital services on PlayStation 4 are going to be upgraded with a new service called Play to Go, which allows you to play before you finish downloading. All great news for Star Wars Battlefront, guys. I'm afraid that's all of the news for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.